I want to welcome you to Permission to Contract, a discussion on the true energies of winter. And I have here next to me my good friend, Anna Werderitsch. We're going to be talking about how to this is a busy time of year for everyone. A lot of people are ramping up for the holidays, getting real busy, kind of stretching themselves thin and getting stressed out, overwhelmed, and really just trying to do too much. And what Anna and I are going to share with you today are some ways to sort of like tune in to nature and to sort of the natural cycles, so that we can use nature and the natural cycles to de-stress and to cultivate balance in what can be a very busy time of year. And we'll be talking about it from a metaphysical perspective and from a health and wellness perspective. I'll share with you some information on how the very yin nature of this season is already yearning for balance. And Anna is going to share with us some recipes, some herbal insights, some quotes from the classics, and I'm going to be bringing in some feng shui tips for all parts of the home and ways that we can essentially make the most out of this time. Briefly, I want to invite you to post questions on the right side of this page by typing in the question bar on the right, a backslash and a Q. That will pop up on the left, okay? The other thing is, if you want to give us kudos, like a shout out, because I know we've got friends listening tonight, go ahead and click on the hand sign like this. And that means like, yeah, we like you and it's good. So quick introduction of my good friend here. Anna is an acupuncturist and an herbalist, and she has been in practice for 15 years. Recently, she has decided to deepen her practice into classical Chinese medicine. And this is to help people heal their diseases and bring greater balance into life. You can learn more about Anna at spiritfarmeracupuncture.com.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah.
And I'm here with Eileen Kennedy, and she has created Kennedy Feng Shui, a business that consults people in how to best use their space to match their own personal needs and their own personal self, as well as matching with the seasons. You can look her up at kennedyfengshui.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Eileen really helped me with the feng shui of my own office and really saw things that I couldn't see when I moved into a new space, and was really great.
Thank you, Anna. And I want to add that Anna's also really helped me. It's so cute that we're here together. I recently especially deal with a variety of very annoying and persistent yet minor health issues. I have, through working with her through acupuncture and herbs, actually had total and complete healing from the annoying, persistent issues I was experiencing. So, you know, Anna's got the physical, I've got the metaphysical. We're going to come to you right now and kind of jump into exploring what's happening and how to feel good right now.
So I have a quote to share. It's from the Huangdi Jing, the Yellow Emperor's Classics of Chinese Medicine. And it was one of the early texts that sort of lays out the foundation of seasons and energetics, 5 elements. So this quote, this paragraph goes into several of the topics that we'll dive deeper in, but it just mentions it, so we start to introduce what it is exactly that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I just want to add, we're going to be peppering our whole talk tonight with these awesome old quotes that you can't just get off the internet.
Oh,
this is like the real deal, you know?
Real deal.
So tune in.
Okay, here comes the first one. The kidneys are responsible for hibernation. They are the basis of seclusion and storage. They are the location of the essence. Their effulgence,
Essence. Remember
Essence.
that. Okay.
Their effulgence is in the hair on the head. Their fullness manifests itself in the bones. They communicate with the chi of winter. And the chi of rain communicates with the kidneys. So here we are, a rainy night, communicating about and with our kidneys.
Wow.
So in this sweet little short paragraph, 4 topics have already been noted: hibernation.
Okay. Hibernation.
Storage and seclusion.
Storage, seclusion.
And essence.
And essence.
And these are 4 pieces that we will touch on, go deeper with.
And cold. We're going to talk about the cold.
And cold.
I mean, this is a time of year when, if winter is a time of rest and hibernation and tuning in and storage and rejuvenation, most of us are doing exactly the opposite of that right now. Most of us are pushing it to the limit, doing as much as we can. It is a party, rehearsals, kids, choirs, and this is exactly the opposite of storing and securing.
And seclusion and hibernation. It's complete opposite. We're like spending resources instead of storing them back in. We're spending financial resources and energetic resources.
And didn't you tell me last night, I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but that if you don't have a certain level of energy stored one winter, then the following winter you'll actually have symptoms of,
well, in the spring, you'll have warm disease symptoms. So there's when we talk about cold, we'll get even more into that.
Okay, so I'd like to read a quote, and I just want to invite anyone listening in to give us some props, because we're here, we've had these technical problems, and we'd love to hear from you.
And we hope you stuck around.
We hope you stuck around and didn't get too discouraged, and hope you can hear us too.
Right.
If you can hear us, let us know.
Yes, give us a clap. That would be good.
We can't clap for ourselves, except like this, okay? Okay, so let's be serious. Okay, so I want to read to you something from an ancient classical text called Monthly Instructions, and it's called the Yuerling. And this is what it says: at the solstice, trees may be cut down and wood gathered and bamboo gathered. Doors are shuttered, gates are closed. If during this time of winter, works proper to summer are carried out, there will be drought, thick fog, and thunder. Okay, so if you do like you do in the summer now,
right,
fog, drought, and thunder. If the business of autumn be done, there will be sleet, melons will not grow to maturity, and wars will break out. So if you're harvesting still, okay, and if the busyness of spring be done, locusts will wreak havoc, water courses will be polluted, and there will be outbreaks of scabies and leprosy. So we're going to be talking about how to not have this. We're going to be talking about essence, storage, cold, damage, emotionalism. You're going to get some recipes from Anna, and I'm going to give you some lucky feng shui dates, some good times this month for feng shui activities. I'm going to talk to you about what that means. We're going to talk about dealing with cold damage and emotionalism.
So let's start with a good lead-in for that is starting to talk about cycles. We live in a world of cycles. We have the cycle of the year. We have the cycles of the month and the seasons. We have the cycle of the day. We have the cycle of the hour. And it all breaks down to yin and yang, really. The cycle starts with spring, where there's this bursting forth of energy breaking through the crusts of snow and sleet and ice. And it's this force of yang that breaks through. Then comes this season of growth, which is summer, and it's the blooming. And then comes the season of fruiting in autumn. And then comes winter. Starts in the fall, where everything starts to wither. The fruits start to dry up. The leaves start to fall off of the trees. And then in the winter, everything is bare. And then the cold sets in, and you can eat. If we were to mimic what our world is doing, up here, even in California, the energy is off of the plants and down into the earth. There are no leaves. There's no expanded energy at all. And so this is something that I think Eileen and I are really trying to emphasize, of like being witness to our environment and being able to go, oh, look, there's a retraction, a contraction. Oh, look, there's no more energy. Maybe I should pull it in a little bit. Maybe I should say no.
Certainly, I want to add, like when we are able to tune into nature and be more connected to the natural cycles, we are nature after all. So it's restorative, very restorative.
And the trees and the plants pull all that in so that they can burst again when spring comes, that they can send their buds out, send their leaves out, start to flower and fruit. So if we think about that too, let's start to like pull it in. This cycle of seasons even happens in a day-to-day basis, where we have dawn, and the dawn is the rising of that spring sprout bursting through, that rising sun. The sun goes to mid sky, and it's summer. That's the peak of yang in the day. And then it starts to travel and go down, travel down, fall through the sky.
Awesome. Hey, I just want to give a big shout out to our friend Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. We just got a Facebook message that we got the technology resolved, and there are people out there.
And you can hear us.
You can hear us. Push through it.
Hi, Eva.
Hi, Eva. Hi, Felix. We got to say hi to our friends. You know, who knows? You know, we are this blab. I want people to know this isn't like a big normal thing. This is a beta blab. This is new technology that's been developed. Even blab is in beta. So double beta.
Double beta, double blab. Here's double blab right here.
And you know, I wanted to say the astrology of today was not particularly auspicious for a talk.
I did say technical difficulties.
Danger. So, you know, here we are. So we're doing good.
And we're safe.
We're safe. No danger. Okay.
So anyway, so then as the sun sets, just as actually after that mid point of the sun in the sky, we start to settle into yin, and the warmth and the light start to decline, and in that settling in, we also start to gather our energy in, and we do it, although we have technology that keeps us up a little bit later now, and we have these things, so we have to kind of remind ourselves, even on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, of how to hone that in and bring in our energy. So it really is something. If we can't completely say no to all the social engagements, or if we have to do certain things that keep our energy going outward, we can think on an hour-to-hour basis, minute to minute. Do I have a minute to pull some energy in? Do I have a minute to just take a few breaths? And actually today, after my full day, before coming here, I laid down. I just shut all the lights out in my office, turned out the lights, turned on the music, turned on the heating lamp, and laid there and pulled energy in for myself before doing this talk. Was there something that you had?
Well, I was just going to say how nice it feels in your office
on
that warm bed. Would now be a good time for me to talk a little bit about the chart of the month, and then we'll get going and give you some tips on dealing with emotionalism, cold damage, and how to, deal with the winter blues that a lot of people get, because this season, if we were to talk about balance, is actually totally out of balance. This is the ultimate yin. And we always, we'll talk about this as we go on, but we want to be what's called a Tai Chi. It's the little ball in the yin and yang. We've got the yin and yang, and in it there's a Tai Chi. It's a little dot. We want to be that dot, which makes it brighter, and that cultivates balance, and we can do that through feng shui, through all ways in our lives. So a couple of tips on the astrology chart of the month, and it started just a couple days ago on November 7th, and this is a special time. And what's kind of neat about this month is in a relationship with the year that shows that if we do cultivate an energy called wood energy, yang wood, which I'll talk about in a moment, this has the potential to be one of the best months of the year. And you can envision it sort of like a high mountain with a lake, very cold, okay? And we're gonna wanna enhance the warmth and enhance the yang wood. And basically, the provided, now the chart shows that the energy of this month is tired as well. It has a lot of burnout and depletion. It shows that we need to be robusted. Okay, you can do that through rest and hibernation. Okay, we need to experience a renewal. And if we do, if we pay attention to our physical bodies, because in the chart it actually says the physical body is the key here. If we pay attention to our physical bodies and you know, really start to focus on the energy of our friends and our self-development, okay, building ourselves through community, we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. There is it indicates that this is a time that new structures or new unions are put into place. It's a time where what's called the heaven and the earth energy is trying to jive, okay? And on certain days, it will jive beautifully. And if you can start to not get too drawn into the busyness and the emotionalism that comes with water. Water is wisdom, it's thoughts, it's feelings, it's drama. If you can resist being pulled into that and focus more on self-discovery, brotherhood, sisterhood, a lot of what you want is going to mature and come to fruition. So cultivate your resources. That would be, and let's see, the other thing I wanted to share about the energy of this month is that,
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
It's almost like cultivating the heart energy to nourish the kidney, but in a way that is of the embraces, of the embrace and the receiving the warmth and yang from another,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a necessarily a constant put out, like or complete expansion. It's this other type of yang that then feeds in Chinese medicine a kidney yang that's the fire, sort of like our pilot light that resides between the kidneys. So it like fuels and feeds that and resources that.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about essence, and then I'll give you some feng shui tips to deal with how we can build the yang wood. I talked about just now building your resources, reaching out to tribe, and self-development. Be really helpful staying stable. Okay, if we start spreading too thin, we're going to be overwhelmed with emotions and drama. It's the nature of the chart and the season. So literally, it's a step-by-step approach to dealing with metabolizing water. And wood, the plants, they drink the water. So literally, we're going to talk about wood seeks out the light. It seeks out the warmth. Okay, so taking sun. Okay, yang wood grows vertical. It's concentric, right? So that's structured. We're going to talk about enhancing structure to deal with water. That might mean putting in a schedule. That might mean getting some people to help you, some supports, setting up your calendar, blocking out time. We'll talk about that more in a minute.
I like that, getting support.
Yeah,
I think that,
yes, support.
which leads into bones, and essence and marrow.
That's a lot of support.
Which is support.
A whole body.
Keeps us upright. The kidney energy, as I read in that initial quote, is related to the bones. And deeper than that is the marrow that then pushes out to make the bones. So in this time, that energy that we resource and store, it's like the yin time, the winter time, the night time, all pulls into the body. When we rest, we sleep, and that expanded yang activity energy pulls in all the way down into the marrow and restores itself each night. So this is like a 3-month night where we're letting that energy come back and go deep, deep into our bones. And again, so we have the spring forth. But essence, what is essence?
Is essence chi?
Essence? No, essence is the seed. It's the seed of yin, yang, blood, qi, shen, which is spirit. If there's essence, all of these things emanate from it. So essence is, some people, the Chinese word is jing, and I don't know the proper intonation of it. It can translate as like our battery or DNA. It's something there's two kinds. There's one chunk that we come into the world with that has been passed through our lineage, passed from our parents, from mother and father. That's called prenatal essence. And then there is postnatal essence. And that is cultivated through how we live our lives. Some people believe you can never cultivate Jing. But as I go deeper into the classics and all of these pieces of Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy, you can cultivate essence. And you cultivate it through rest. You cultivate it through particular Qigong movements. You cultivate it through how you manage and align yourself with the cycles. Thanks to whoever gave us a little
I see
clap.
We've got some new folks joining us here. Let's see, Prajna, thank you. And let's see who else we've got. We've got Maninder, thank you.
This is Arjun. Hello, Arjun.
Hi. So I just want to remind people, if you have questions, pop in and ask by writing on the right side, and it will show up on our screen as like, so-and-so has a question. You just want to watch, and you can be in the lurk mode. You don't have to identify yourself. And what else? If you want to give us props, go ahead and click on those hands, because that tells us you hear us and it's all going good. Okay, so you're talking about Jing. How do we cultivate it? And can we cultivate it with gelatin and
Well, there are so postnatal Jing, postnatal essence is cultivated not only by how we live according to the seasons, but also by eating foods that are nutrient dense. In comes Weston Price. Thank you for coming back into the world.
Bone broth.
Introducing gelatin and bone broth. Bone marrow. Those are collagen, gelatin, bones, bone marrow. It's essence brewed up in a pot to sip on. So this is a perfect time to do that and
make the chicken stock.
Making chicken stock. Some people crack the bones so they actually get the marrow into the broth.
Rich. Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that. I like chicken stock, but not, I don't know, maybe like
you might
get some good French bread and put the marrow on. I don't know.
Or you let it simmer into the broth.
Ooh, okay.
Something like French onion soup, which
sounds strong. I can smell it already. Oh, I make a lot of bone broth. That's how I know.
I know.
Okay.
The beef bone broth is very smelly for those of you who have not done it. But a
Okay,
good thing
on.
to make
Yeah.
with the beef bone broth is French onion soup. And what French onion soup also has is that the warming of the onions, but it also has an antihistamine. So if you eat a lot of slow cooked onions through this time, you can even help to manage and prevent allergic responses in the spring and summer.
Okay, everyone, did you hear that?
French onion soup.
French onion soup made from homemade bone broth and slow cooked onions.
2-hour cooked onions in butter. Or olive oil if you have to, but
okay,
2-hour low heat. And then you can have actually this stash of onions that you can add to different things, spread on toast, like you said.
Oh, we have a question, by the way. Yeah. What about for people who think, who think a lot so it pushes chi, what makes the tendons tense up? That if the tendons either get tense or collapse, what to do? I think that's a question for you.
That seems like if there is that quality, it seems like the energy is actually in the ligaments and tendons and hasn't been able to return back in, hasn't been able to be as restored as it possibly could be. I would ask if the person is getting enough rest, if they can sleep well, if their sleep is disturbed, and yes, the mind. I think you mentioned the mind.
Thinking a lot.
Thinking a lot.
That's water, by the way. Excessive thinking, sort of Yeah.
Ruminating.
Ruminating.
Which room means water.
Oh.
Yes, it means water. It means, and in pathology.
Tears too. If you're thinking too much and you're starting to cry, it's all too much. So,
so there's one other thing I actually don't know if I fully described, but so that energy comes back to restore into the body. I think I did say this. And then it pushes out in the day. So again, just thinking of storing up into the marrow so that we can have action, so that we can move through our day and move through our summer instead of coming into the summer with maybe tight tendons, as someone was asking about. So maybe I would say that needing to again nourish, possibly with gelatin, bone broth, deeper rest.
Maybe now would be a good time for me to just jump in about some feng shui tips for the bedroom in terms of rest. The bedroom is a place for all sorts of activities besides sleep, but we're talking about hibernation. And I want to give some recommendations now before I help you with emotionalism and, those family get-togethers that can be so hard sometimes for so many of us. And rest, because if you're rested, you're going to feel better. So here's some feng shui tips for the bedroom. First of all, you should always have your bed with the headboard against a wall. And that wall should, behind, that wall should not have a lot of plumbing in it. It shouldn't be a bathtub, a shower, a toilet, a sink. Especially if, and the reason for that is it gives us a feeling of stability. Now, if you have your bed in the middle of the room, it's kind of like akin to like a ship adrift at sea. You're like on a raft floating around. So one way to get a better night's sleep is to put the head of your bed against the wall. The second thing is to sleep in a very quiet part of your house. You should not hear the street. You should not hear the neighbors. This is a place where you can truly rest and recover. Above your bed, do not sleep under a skylight. Do not sleep under heavy beams, anything that's dark and like pushing down towards you. This will disrupt your rest. And let's see, also mirrors. A lot of people in like homes that are built maybe in the 70s, 80s, they have these great mirrored closet doors. Well, good for checking in the morning on what you look like, but really bad for sleep. It's a yang energy. It's overstimulating. If you have mirrored closet doors, I would say cover them with a curtain. Okay, that's the best remedy before you take them out.
Yeah. What about windows, Eileen? Like sleeping beneath like a window above the bed.
Right. Well, certainly you have a window above your bed. How high is it? Like come all the way down to the bed, or?
No, it's probably 2 feet above.
Okay, that's fine.
So there's still headboard room.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. As long as there's, there's a lot of discussion about that particular thing. And the priority is to have the wall behind the bed. And if there's a window, there's a window. And to kind of cultivate the yin. So that would be to use the window covering if you need to. Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think of one other exercise that reels in the energy, and it's palming on your eyes. So you just take your palms and you place them over your eyes. And for me, the second that I do that, without even like trying, my breath begins to deepen.
I think that's better than the eye pillows.
It's way better than, because you're getting, you're returning your own chi into your own body. So it's like, and everything pulls in exactly as we talk about that, storage. You can feel it pull in. Like so much of our energy goes out in our spirit meeting another spirit, in looking at a computer, and that drains our, actually the wood. Drains the wood energy, which then nourishes the sinews and tendons. So when you palm, even if it's 5 minutes, you get this dark, you get your own chi, and you get some deep breaths. So closing the windows.
Yes, and palming. And then, to cultivate the wood, we're going to talk a little bit about, emotionalism, which is a big thing. People get so frustrated this time of year. This is a time when we all want to be like with our tribe, with our families. We want to be that warmth. We want to be the sun for each other. This is the ancient people all around the world have always had high festivals, pre-modern religions at all these significant times of the most yin, the most yang, the equinoxes. So anyways, when we want this, it's just a matter of spending our resources accordingly. So one way, if you're dealing with too much water, you're cold, you're frustrated, you're feeling burnt, you want to cultivate the wood. Also, is to take morning walks. Okay, morning walks during the wood hours, which are first thing in the morning. It gets the legs and the arms moving, and
moves
these are the limbs, and the limbs
from the marrow out
are parts of the tree. Actually, the legs are yang wood, right? Am I right? Associated with yang wood?
All the
bones.
Well, let's skip.
Never mind. Skip that part. Anyways, getting moving cultivates wood. It also helps metabolize thoughts and feelings and emotions. So you're taking the water and you're moving it through your body. Okay, it helps with planning. Wood is planning. It's strategy. It's economy. It's being opportunistic. Okay, the tree goes where the light is. So if you're being bogged down, you've got some winter blues, you're feeling like a ship adrift. When you start to put in place things that can help with structure, okay, this is going to be like a ladder out of the pond. And literally, when I look at the astrology chart of the month, it's like a high mountain, high Sierra landscape with a beautiful cold blue lake. And when we start to put trees in that landscape, it becomes less desolate, more beautiful, more inviting. Okay, so starting to see that. One way you can also enhance this wood energy in your home is through greenery. And if you celebrate Christmas, that would be to have a tree. If you don't, that might be to bring in some greenery from the outside. And an evergreen is a great symbol of eternal life. Green even in the winter. You know, it doesn't lose its leaves. So you can get some boughs, you can get some sort of plant material. And if you're really not into any of that, and you're just like, well, get some greenery, green pillows, green just colors, green, the color green. Yeah. Do you want to talk about alcohol and sugar?
Emotionalism, or is that what
we're just kind of talking about that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Vertical growth. Trees grow up. Okay, so, okay.
You know, with that inward turning energy, I think this can be something about the emotionalism. We're not comfortable with that. We're not very comfortable with turning our energy in, with being a little more secluded, and we start to get often depressed. We remember, past memories come and haunt us. We think about people who are gone. We ruminate on
nostalgia. Yeah, like, oh, remember that time? Oh, it's sad.
Sadness.
Not like it used to be.
Right. Yeah. And those feelings are also, they're fine. But there's a place to really embrace those feelings, actually, and embrace some of these, some of just that turned in time. And when we embrace just the space and time of being more secluded and being by ourselves, we can then allow all of these various emotions to be part of our lives. There was a really great article that one of my colleagues, Phil Garrison, wrote about Robin Williams. And Robin Williams is the epitome of expansion, right? He's like always out there, always like talking fast, and always such a public and amazing human who entertained all of us. And he, on the flip side, had pretty major depression because he wasn't comfortable with that turned in energy, with that seclusion. And so when he went there, it was depression. It wasn't just storage. It wasn't just being alone. It wasn't just curling up. It was like he didn't know how to do it. And so he had an imbalance of yang.
Oh, I wish I had his chart here. I would look at it so and give it that perspective. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though from how we know him. Yeah. Yeah. Alcohol, what does that do to people? Because I know, from a metaphysical perspective, it's fire, and it can be you know, they drink a lot during the holidays. It feels good. It stokes the fire. You're feeling hot. You're feeling, brings up anger. And certainly if there's not the proper resources behind, you haven't, don't have that structure behind the consumption, it can be a mess. And how does that relate to the body when we're in this yin season?
Well, if you look at people who drink a lot, they're puffy. So there's actually a lot of water retention and a dampening.
So if you drink, go for a walk the next morning or run.
I mean, you know, holiday drinks are fine.
Heavy drinking, walk.
But you can see it actually, it dampens and builds the water accumulation and diminishes metabolism. But in that, in a water accumulation, heat is generated because the body's trying to rid it but can't metabolize it. So then you get flushed face, flushed puffy face, which is this water and heat accumulating. Wow. So
don't look good like that.
Sugar does the same thing. You see people with sugar. You know, I have a couple of drinks and I can feel the weight. I can feel quickly how that goes onto my body. Not that I avoid it, but
oh no, I mean,
but you know, paying attention to that, and that dampens and slows down all metabolism and obscures mental clarity with the accumulation of damp and heat in the body. So then there's the emotional, then there's the emotionalism within the holidays. When you drink, you're like happy, jovial, and then crying.
Crashing down.
Right.
So if you're feeling that way, you know you need to cultivate wood. So the east direction is wood. You can walk east. Okay, these are sort of a way you can contemplate
facing the sun.
Face the sun,
the rising
sunrise.
Sun. Mm-hmm.
You can wear greens. You can visualize trees, vertical growth. You can keep in your mind's eye how a forest. You can go into the forest. This is tapping into. Welcome, Blair. I just want to say hi. So we've got some folks joining us. So this is a way to cultivate the wood. Anna, we were going to talk about. Speaking of drinks, let's talk about something that's healthy.
Yes.
And a hot drink. And also, I've been wondering about ginger, cinnamon, and spice. You know, everybody's doing gingerbread cookies and cinnamon this and cinnamon that. And I couldn't help but wonder if that's the fire energy originally, not with all the sugar.
Yeah, but it's a good combination. And like you get your sugar fix, but then you have the fire to dissolve the room again, to dissolve the damp that accumulates from the sugar consumption.
Oh, okay. So mixing ginger, we can put sugar in our ginger tea.
You can
maybe ginger candy.
Ginger candy. Right.
Ginger candy. Okay. Okay.
I was thinking one other way of really. One way that I treat some of this, like cold, we'll talk about cold, but one way that I really address it is doing a lot of moxibustion. And moxibustion is a warming treatment on the skin with a plant called mugwort, and it's this fluff on the back of the leaf that those leaves themselves were used for early fire making. Wow. When they would do bow drill, and it would hold the spark, the birth of yang, the birth of the fire, the spark. It would hold it and slowly burn, so they could carry and hold this little spark, and it would grow slowly, and then they could carry it to where they wanted it to be. So in Chinese medicine, it's been adapted to use to chase cold, and when you bring warmth into the body, you generate blood and you generate fluids, and that's a funny another yin-yang thing. But so where that actually, then we can go back to what cold does. What does cold do? And when Eileen and I were talking the other night, some other things came clear, but cold, of course, contracts us and it damages blood. And in the damaging of blood and body fluids are right alongside each other. They're basically the yin components, and cold damages those. So then if there's cold damage in the winter, then even in the following winters, there will be dryness. subsequent dry skin.
Yeah, dry skin.
Flaky dry skin. I keep seeing people with bleedy rashes.
Eczema. Yeah.
Eczema is a good example. So warming. So I was thinking when we were talking how another reason for the seclusion is to prevent the cold from coming into your body and prevent it from damaging the bloods and the blood and the body fluids.
So, I mean, not to go off topic, just to kind of enhance, dark leafy greens at this time of year are supporting the blood.
More things, warming spices would be something more supportive. And if you eat meat, animal meats, warm foods, period. Okay. So slow cooked foods. There's not so many, like, look seasonally. There's some, I just got rapini in my box, my CSA box. I got
it in mine too. I love that.
It's really good. Yeah. And actually it's in like a mustard family. It's a warming green. Actually.
So let's tell them about it. It's a warming mustard green. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can saute it. And
garlic and olive oil.
Garlic and olive oil. That's how I did it.
Yeah. I put a little bit of stock, leftover turkey stock that I had frozen just to steam it a little bit after having sauteed, because I like greens that are mushy. I think hard, chewy greens. And right now it's a really good time to do that, to have them.
Is that really because sort of like slow cooked foods right now and like are more gentle on the metabolism as we're kind of more drawn in?
Exactly. Cool. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Learning a lot.
So some of the like dried ginger chai is a really good drink right now. Or if you drink coffee, put cardamom in it, or put cinnamon in it, or put some of these things that are deep interior warmers that resource the yang back into the body, and they'll help you to resolve any accumulated water that happens through the season as we're, engorging,
indulging,
and then
engorging. Indulging.
So like turmeric.
May I share my turmeric tea? Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a great tea. Anna turned me onto it, and I love it for a couple of reasons. It's a warming tea. So first of all, you grate fresh turmeric, you grate fresh ginger, and you pour them into a pot of hot water. You add, this is how I do it, you can add some cayenne pepper, you can add some honey, and you can add some rose water and coconut oil.
Rose water and coconut oil.
I mean, it's so, lime juice too.
I might add a little cardamom. I'm kind of a cardamom freak. With the rose.
Ooh, it sounds good. Well, I've been enjoying this every morning as a great way to wake up. It's like a healing tonic, and the color is so gorgeous. It's this turmeric, bright, saffrony kind of yellow, and this is a perfect time of year to drink and to actually wear yellow. Like, it's a great time to cultivate that warmth, that light, as we're approaching the darkest days, and kind of trying to keep that chi and like keep it intact and make it brighter. Let's see. I wanted to talk also about a little bit more feng shui, and I know Anna has a couple more. We're getting up on our time, and we're going to wrap up pretty soon. But a couple quotes from the classics, and I wanted to just talk about stuff, things, gift giving. We love presents, I know that, but like this year, 2015, is the year of the goat. Okay, and a goat is yin earth primarily. Okay, and when we're in an earth energy year, this is an auspicious or good time to get rid of your stuff. That means clear out storage units, move those boxes. If you have corners or piles that are cluttering up your life, thin them. Okay, so we're coming to the end of 2015.
Technically, we have till February by the lunar calendar.
Technically, we have till February 4th. And we will take advantage of this time to start to declutter and get rid of some of your things, because the earth energy can be very bog you down. I do want to say earth can also help with water issues by cultivating. Earth would be like to cultivate the mountain, cultivate stillness, Okay, the mountain is very yin. It never moves. And when there's a lot of drama and a lot of emotionalism, you're driving all over the place, lots of movement, you're going here, you're going there. To cultivate stillness, to slow down, to kind of bring in that stability, that meditation, that place of quiet is really great for getting out of the watery issues.
And slow eating.
Slow eating, yes.
Slow down with eating and chewing.
Yeah.
Slow down with your social engagements. Enjoy them. Embrace each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple of auspicious dates for this month, lucky dates. First of all, December 22nd is called the Success Day. That's a good day for all sorts of activities. It's a lucky day. And December 28th is also a good day. It's a good day for signing agreements, any business deals, or housewarming. So you can put those on your calendars as auspicious dates for most people this month. Of course, when we're talking about person, place, health, the world, it always comes down exactly to the individual, to you, to me, to Anna, and how we personally sort of integrate with the world around us. So I want to invite you to get in touch with both of us. And you can do that through get in touch with me at kennedyfengshui.com or Anna at spiritfarmeracupuncture.com. And we would love to help you personally sort of have greater balance through your life through feng shui, herbs, Chinese medicine. Yeah. What else? Is there anything you'd like to add here? And
two things. One is one other quote, and then going into some of the pieces associated with some of the actions, I guess. After I read this, I'll explain it. This is also from the Huangdi Neijing. It's from chapter 3. So the 3 months of winter, they denote securing and storing. There it is again. Go to bed early and rise late. So rise with the sun. You must wait for the sun to rise. Let the mind enter a state as if hidden, as if shut in, as if secluded, as if you had secret intentions, as if you had already made gains. And I love that.
I love that.
There's already made gains. There's no striving. This is not the time of striving.
This is not the time.
This is the time of being good with what you've got, being good with what you've done, being internal, and some ways of doing things that don't necessarily have to contribute to an end goal or a work related thing. I pull out my protractor, my compass, and my markers, and I sit down with the boys and we make mandalas. And we color them, so we'll make a bunch and we'll color them later, and it's this sort of circular internal little activity and world. The other, something similar to that is knitting, not like cranking out your hats that you're giving away for Christmas, but like
knitting. This is
by the fire,
bit by bit. This is a structure building. This is a way to metabolize the ideas. And tips for OCD, somebody asks. Yeah, too much thinking mess with the energy. Indeed, OCD. I would say the breath.
The breath and the feet. Putting your mind in your feet
together.
Yeah. And breathing and thinking not about your head, but thinking about your feet. Where are my feet?
So it's really, one of the things that I love is, so our body is literally connecting our feet with the earth. Mm-hmm. So on the ground, our feet touch the earth, and then we rise vertically and, sort of symbolically, or maybe not, we have our head in the sky. So we are this awesome, cosmic conduit between the sky and the earth, right through our, core. Mm-hmm. And so I would say, dealing with OCD, dealing with stress, feet on, walking barefoot, feet on the earth. Feel the soil at the bottom of your feet, and then the breath, really tuning into that earth stability.
On the bottom of the foot, but just at the base of the ball of the foot, pretty much in the center between the first two toes, is the first point of the kidney channel. This is where we resource from the earth to our essence, to our postnatal chi at this jing at this point, because we're getting this feed, and if we can send down the energy through that point in the feet into the earth and bring up that energy that comes from the earth, there can be possibly a mental shift.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, let's go do it. You know,
it's cool. But even if you're walking with your boots, your snow boots or your rain boots, or think of that point, and each time you touch the earth, you're resourcing and you're grounding and you're pulling energy.
You know, the power of visualization. So much of what I do with Chinese astrology, Bazi, has to do with what we see in our mind's eye and visualizing things. So even while you're out there connecting, meditating, walking, doing deals, business, even meeting friends, a lot of what we hold in our mind and how we is a lot of the whole. It might even be everything. You know. So if you can start to see that in your, you know, you've got your thick winter boots on, and how you're visualizing that chi going down through the snow, touching the earth as you walk with your breath, breathing. This is a great way to cultivate stability and moving the chi, moving the water energy.
Does anybody make gummies? Do you guys, anybody enjoy using gelatin?
Should we do a gummy recipe? And
there's a lovely recipe for gelatin, for gummies. And it's a good thing to feed your children and yourself if you make a whole bunch and you've got this stash of them that you can just munch on as a snack. And
you're gonna give the recipe?
I can give it, or we can post it on the other thing.
Let's give it. Okay. Anyone listening, because we're gonna upload this to YouTube. So
okay. So the recipe is a 1/4 cup of gelatin, and it's the one I like to use is the Great Lakes bovine gelatin, and it's in an orangey red container, and a total of a 1/2 cup of water, a 1/2 cup of fresh squeezed citrus. Right now we have abundance of mandarin, and mandarin is amazing. It makes amazing gummies. Sometimes I'll also put the juice of 1 to 2 lemons because I like the tart. A 1/2 cup of raw honey. Do that based on your taste. I like to grate some fresh turmeric into there to even make it more orange, and then a pinch of sea salt.
Nice, that sounds good.
So what I do is I put the gelatin in like a 2-cup measuring cup, and I pour the water on just straight away to soften the gelatin and let the gelatin absorb the water. And then in a pan on the stove, I'm heating the juice really low, really, really low. So that I can, it's the citrus juice, the turmeric, and then the honey, so that the honey melts. And so once that's dissolved, you can mix these two together. Sometimes you actually have to put the gelatin into the citrus in the pot at the very low heat so that it all completely dissolves. Then if you have some lumps, you can strain out the lumps. And then, but I eat them. I just eat, there's a globs of gelatin. It's like treat. So then you can pour them into molds, or one of my dear friends taught me to pour them into a cookie sheet, and then put them in the fridge and let them harden, and then you cut them into thin strips and they become gummy worms. Or the molds you put
That's
in the
a great
fridge.
treat for the kids.
Great treat.
Great treat.
And great to bring to work if you
bring it to work, take it to a party as a maybe
take it to a party.
Seasonal gift. Yeah.
And you're nourishing your essence, your marrow, you're storing and securing and building, putting material in for that structure and the foundation of your bones.
I like that. Thank you, Anna.
Welcome.
Just being mindful of our time, I think we should wrap up. Do we want to, is there anything we want to end with besides?
So, this is another food thing, but it's vitamin D, which is very important because we
D3?
D3,
Vitamin D3.
because we do have a lot less sunshine. And in traditional societies, they would have cod liver oil, a lot of animal fat, of course, grass-fed animal. These fats store vitamin D. Fat is a storage spot for vitamin D. So really reminding yourself.
What about fat on us?
It stores our vitamin D
So
too.
if we're fat, do we have a lot of vitamin D?
I don't know
Just
if
asking.
we're
Okay.
able to,
We can't access it.
metabolize
Oh,
it that way. I'm not sure.
Okay. We have
But,
to eat it.
We have to
But
eat it.
don't we make it?
We make it with the presence of sunshine.
Oh.
But if there isn't the sunshine, which we have hours less in the day of sunlight, and the sun is lower on the horizon, so it is important to have your vitamin D. One of my patients today was telling me, and I've heard this before, also if you're feeling like you're getting sick, to dose high on vitamin D3.
Okay.
And it can help your body, it's like a dose of yang that helps the pathogen be pushed out.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think let's end with that quote. That quote that we had that was about, that we posted on the Facebook.
That one I read.
Did we read it already?
Mm-hmm, we read it. We read it. The 3 months of winter. We read it.
Okay. I want to just end on a note that says, we're not, this is a time of year when, yes, we do want to connect with people. We do want to increase the yang energy because it's so much yin. But what Anna and I got together on tonight is to really say it's about cultivating balance, and it's about paying attention to the yin and having our rest and taking that time. But that really originally and probably at the root, that socializing, that coming out of the dark, that coming out of hibernation, come on, let's all get together, let's party, let's celebrate, is really at its origin coming from probably a good place of trying to pull us out of what could be depression, could be listlessness, fatigue. So this is this is not about anti anything or being, that's all the bad stuff or the boogeyman. It's just about cultivating balance, right?
And it's a different type of time of gathering. We're not running.
Remember, we don't want scabies or leprosy. No scabies.
Yeah, we're not doing big dances. We're gathering by the hearth. Gathering with food and warmth, and we're cuddling in to share the warmth. So it's very different than a summer activity when we gather. It's a very different way to be social.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
This was really fun, and thanks for writing the challenges with us. We hope you enjoyed it, and post any questions later if you have any for either of us.
Yeah, we'll post them in our Facebook event page, and we look forward to answering you personally. And happy holidays.
Happy holidays.